So this is the educational interface we hand-coded from scratch in Lesson 9.
Rat 老鼠老鼠
As you recall, you click an animal to get the big pic, as well as the animal name spoken in English and Chinese. So in this lesson, we will add the English and pinyin spelling to the output, plus the Chinese character for that animal. We'll also make the wheel spin. The wheel that appears on page load will be spinning around using JavaScript animation. Okay, we have a lot to do. Go back into your code editor and do a file save as and rename it lesson 10 audiochinese.html. So first, we need to get the English name of the animals to appear. Let's just change the title to JS10 first. So go down to swap pic function, and after this line, add big pic plus equals animal R I. Let's save it and preview in browser.
Dog 狗狗
After we click it, we get the English spelling. Let's go into the CSS and make the font a little bit bigger and nicer. So open audio slideshow.css, go to BigPic, and add two more properties. Font size, 2.5 rem, and text align center. Let's save it and refresh the browser.
Horse 马马
Now the text is big and nice. Now for the pinyin spelling that indicate the tones. Open pinyin-tones.html and preview in the browser. So the Chinese language has 4 tones. First, which is high and steady. The second tone is a rising tone. The third one is falling, then rising. And the fourth one, a sharply falling tone. When Chinese is spelled out in the romanization system called pinyin, each syllable gets a tone marking over a vowel. So this table shows all the vowel tones. First tone is marked with a straight line over the vowel. Second tone is a rising line, like an accent mark. The third tone is a little U shape, and the fourth tone is a falling line. Let's go back in the code. We see that each pinyin vowel is a 7-character combination, starting with the letter, followed by an ampersand, then a pound sign, then a 3-digit code, and finally a semicolon. So rather than have you write any of this stuff, let's just go down to the script at the bottom, where we conveniently have an array called pinyin R, which contains all the pinyin spellings of the animals in the same order as animal R. So first is chicken, etc. Copy this array and switch back to lesson 10 and go right after the animal R and paste it there. Now let's add the pinyin to the output. So go down to the function into the concatenation we did for an English name. Add a plus sign, quote, space, hyphen, space, close your quote, plus pinyin R. I. So let's save it and refresh the browser.
Cow 牛牛
Now, to add the Chinese characters to the mix, we'll display them in a div which we will use absolute positioning to make the characters appear inside my speech bubble here. So we first need a new div. Let's go back to the code, and after the container div, add another one and set the ID equal to char, short for character, and close the div. We need CSS to control this div. So go into the CSS file and make a new rule for pound char. So set the position equal to absolute. Set the width equal to 230 px. Height is 145 px. Set the top equal to 415 px. Left equals 200 px. Set the background color equal to red. And text align, center, and set the z index equal to 1. So let's save and refresh browser. So it works, but we just need to move the div over a little bit. So go back into CSS and add a 25 px more to the top. And take out 25 px for the left. Save and refresh. Let's take 10 more px off the left. Save and refresh. Now it's perfect. This is a red box where we'll have the Chinese character appear. So Chinese characters are all JPEGs, and all the file names start with char dash. We will concatenate that part of the name into the string. So go back to the code. What we need in the array is all the pinyin parts of the file name. So chicken, J-I, pronounced G. Dog is G-O-U, pronounced go. So copy animal R and paste it below. And just change the array name to char R and change chicken to G, cow to niu, dog to go, dragon to long, goat is yang, horse is ma, monkey is hou, pig is zhu, rabbit is tu, rat is shu, snake she, and tiger is hu. So now let's go into the function and output the character to the char div. Let's put it after sound.play. Type document dot get element by ID char dot enter HTML, and it equals, and set that equal to this. So copy this line and paste it here. Change the array from animal R to char R and concatenate the file name char dash. And set the width equal to 65%. And save and refresh this in the browser.
Chicken. 鸡 鸡
So now when we click the animal, we get the sound, the English, pinyin, and the Chinese character here. Cool. Let's go back to the CSS and turn off that red background. That was just so we could see the div. So go into the CSS, char rule, and change background color to white. Let's refresh our browser again. Now it's white, but it's also empty and blocking the text underneath. So we need to also hide the div on page load. We only need to see the char div when we click on the animal. So let's go back and add one more property for char. Display, display, none. Let's save and refresh. And now there's no char div to be seen. But when we click an animal,
rabbit 兔子 兔子
there's no character. So the div is still hidden. So we need to hide the char div on page load, but show it when the user clicks an animal. So go into the function and add this line to target the char div CSS and set display to block, meaning visible. So document dot get element by ID char dot style dot display equal quote block. Let's refresh.
monkey 猴子猴子
Now we get the character to appear when we click an animal. Let's take off the border of the character. So go back to CSS. We already have some CSS to turn off border and box shadow on images. Let's add char to that as well. Char img. So save and refresh your browser.
dragon 龙龙
Now the character appears clean in the text box. As a finishing touch, we'll do the animation that makes the wheel spin. This introduces an important concept, intervals. An interval is a recurring period of time. With the setInterval method, we can specify an interval for calling a function. If you have a function that sets the position or rotation of an element, for example, then when that function is called again and again by the setInterval, the effect will be a moving or a spinning animation. Let's try that. To spin the zodiac wheel, we have to enable JavaScript to target the image. So go into the image tag up in HTML and give it an ID of wheel. Then go down to the script after the swap pick function and pass that image tag of ID wheel to a JavaScript object of the same name. So type var wheel equals document dot get element by d wheel. Now let's rotate the wheel. So add this line. Wheel dot style dot transform plus equals rotate in parentheses 45 DEG. Let's save and refresh the browser. Now the picture rotated 45 degrees. Now let's wrap that rotate command in a function. Reduce rotate to 1 degree and add a function spin wheel, and inside it put this line. Now call the function on the interval. The setInterval method takes two parameters: the name of the function and how often you want to call it. The frequency is in milliseconds. So type setInterval in parentheses spin wheel, that's a function, comma 25 milliseconds. So the spin wheel function will be called every 25 milliseconds, or 40 times per second. So let's save and refresh the browser. And now the wheel is spinning.